We shall see. Thanks. So, yeah, I just thought I'd start by sharing like a little bit about the intentions of this juried exhibition, because I know over the months people have been like, well, why is it even being juried and that kind of thing. And my thought was there's just so many galleries out there, whether locally, nationally, internationally, that offer juried exhibitions, and not everybody knows the process or is comfortable with it. So I thought if we host our very own juried show where the artists are paid Carfax fees, that then you can kind of learn the ropes. So we might be a little bit more almost relaxed with things in some galleries, you know, in terms of the amount of support we're also offering, like, and I'll get into that. Yeah, so I hope it's a learning experience and that throughout the process, if you're ever unsure or just need help, I'm here. And now I'll just share my screen because I do have a bit of a like a list of things I was hoping to talk to about today. But I know everybody's at different stages. Like some people have participated in juried shows and some people haven't. So there might be some aspects of what I want to talk about that you're like, I don't need to know all of that. So at least when I show you this list, you can decide how long you want to stay today too. Like I know Lorena said you already have to leave early. So let's do, here we go. So this is just my overall like summary of what I was hoping to do today. And just so you know, because it might be overwhelming, there's a lot that I wanted to cover in hopefully an hour or so. But I'm going to do my best to summarize the key points into a point form document that I can then circulate after. I also have like sample of a CV I can send you, or you know, just anything I can to put there for examples to help guide you in the process. So I'll circulate some stuff after, just so you know, in case you're feverishly writing notes. And I don't have a break currently in here. Normally, we sort of take breaks as required. Sometimes with only an hour, we don't even take a break. So, you know, if you need to care for your body and take a break and you don't want to step away and miss anything, maybe just let me know, you either through the chat or just kind of jump in if it feels okay to step in and say something. So basically what I was going to start with was just reading over the call to artists, basically a summary of what's all available for you on our website that some of you might have already read through. Then I have a sample of my own artist CV, or some people call it a resume, that I'll share, and like an artist statement sample of my own to share along with some photos so that you can just see that. Yeah, and then I even have like the submission form drafted that I thought I'd show you so that you know what that's going to look like. It is like not, it hasn't been circulated yet because I still have a meeting planned this week with the city of Thunder Bay. So I just haven't actually formally rented the baggage building yet. I told them my intentions of when I'd like to host the exhibit and everything, but as you know, with COVID and all this stuff, it's some things are still up in the air, unfortunately. So as soon as things are firmed up, I'll circulate that as quick as I can. And yeah, just some little notes on different areas like the jury and artwork delivery, or and then at the end we can have a bit of a discussion. And I have some points that I wanted to chat about then. So is there like anything that's maybe missing here, or any questions already? What's that, Christine?
Sorry, it took me a while to figure that out. I'm wondering if we need like a cover letter and bio, and in addition to what you've got here. Is the artist statement the same as the bio?
You'll see when I get to the submission form, there's actually a little checklist on the form, what you need even.
Oh, super.
Yeah, just and so then it'll confirm that you don't need a cover letter. You like a CV, once we get there, I'll go over it a little bit. It could even just be one page. But yeah, I'll show you the samples. But anybody else have anything they wanted to say? think I have to stop the share just so that I can share my next page, I guess. Let's see. Can you see this page right now? No. Or can you, where it says our big logo?
No.
No, that's weird. It says I'm screen
There it
sharing.
is.
Oh, it came up right then? Okay. Of course it did. Okay. Here we go.
And disappeared.
Yeah, there we go. So I'll circulate this again. I know I sent it out so long ago, and then, you know, with COVID and everything, things changed. Sorry. There we go. So I think everybody knows that the show is open to people in Thunder Bay, adults who self-identify as having mental health or addiction experiences. So, you know, to be a member of Mindful Makers, you just have to self-identify. Don't have to explain your lived experience or share your story at all. I trust that that is all well and good. It's just so that we create a peer support network, you know, that everybody can feel comfortable and connected to. And the theme is elemental unraveling. You can play with that however you wish. Break the words apart even if you want, twist it up, whatever. It's just a guiding theme to help bring some sense of cohesion to the show. For the date, I'm hoping for October, November. I meet with the city this week and hopefully we'll have some clarity on that. And we'll be in touch soon. So if the dates get pushed at all to like have to be later in October or something, then the submission date will push too, just so you know. Like if you know, to give you more time, and I'll let you know as soon as possible. Until I get in touch with the city here this week, there's no sense in knowing what's going on, like, because I want to be able to offer some in-person support too. So depending on when they let us in that baggage building will also determine when the actual deadline is. I just put the September 24th as the deadline because I wanted at least something for everybody to work towards this spring so that you knew to get ready. And then everybody's always grateful when there's an extension if ever happens. So leading up to the workshop, if you want help with things like even just understanding what you need to do or me to review your CV or artist statement, I'm actually on hand to help with that stuff. Like you could actually just email it to me and I'll just review it. Just try not to do it the night before the deadline because I might not have time. In the past, we did do a couple of workshops on statement writing and that kind of thing. And I felt like they were helpful, but maybe one-on-one support might be even more helpful. And I do have like some documents I can circulate through email that might be helpful too. But if enough people are like, oh, I've never done a CV or statement, we might be able to just pull something together online. Just let me know. For the related workshops too, we did do a photographing your artwork workshop this spring. But yes, it was online. And I just know that not everybody has access to a camera. So hopefully we do get to be in the baggage building soon enough that I can just bring my camera there and stuff too, so that if people don't have access to a camera, you can come there to use ours at least. Yeah. Yes. The gallery ready side too, that's another reason why I really hope we get in the baggage building soon, is so that like we have tons of stuff for hanging artwork, like the hooks and wire. So during open studio, you like can come down and use ours or get help with doing it if you've never done it before. I also have a ton of frames that I've been collecting myself over the years. So during one of the open studios this fall, I'm hoping to do a buy donation thing that you can pick up a frame. Most of them are more for like watercolors and that kind of thing with the glass in them. And yeah, so then how to apply. One key thing is that once I give you this submission form, which I'll show you in a bit, is that you don't email your submission to my email that you normally use, because I don't want them to get buried in there. I set up a new email that's associated with our website, and I have it here, and it'll be listed on the submission form too. But that's one key thing, that the submissions will go to a whole new email, just so that they're all in one place. And so with your submission, you do the application form, which I'll show you in a bit, a copy of your resume or CV, same thing, your artist statement, which usually relates to your artwork directly. I'll show you a sample of mine. And into the theme elemental unraveling, like most shows, like juried shows, have themes, and then you submit your work and you just kind of tie it in somehow. It can be indirect. You don't have to like super directly tie it in. Like it can be super indirect, and you can really make it work. Most people could probably submit something, I hope, that might feel like it tags onto the theme enough. And then high quality photos of your work, up to 3 images per artwork. And it's that you can submit 3 works of art. So, for one of the submissions, you could submit 3 photos. You don't have to. I'll show you my samples of photos in a bit for when you might like to submit 3. And if you're using like non-traditional, like not visual arts, like you can use WeTransfer to submit a video of a sculpture, or if it's some kind of interactive work or something that doesn't fit in the box of just photos, let me know if you don't know what to do. But WeTransfer is a platform that you just upload your file to and send it to me that way. If it's a more complicated work, like requires some kind of installation of sorts, like maybe there's sound or video or something, then you include the installation instructions. And this is all staple for what juried shows would require for what you would submit. So hopefully going through the process of providing this information will teach you how to do that, and maybe even create an application package you can send elsewhere in the future, perhaps. Um, with Angie leaving the baggage building and no longer running the gift gallery, paper copies are going to be a little bit trickier, but hopefully we'll be in person, so you can at least bring them by during open studio to drop off a paper copy if someone, if you can't do the online thing or email and stuff and prefer that. And just some brief points, like most juried shows do have a fees to submit applications, but we waived that. We have funding from the Ontario Arts Council for this, so we were able to do that, and it's really great. But just so you know, on average, I'd say like even it's only been like $5 when I've applied to the Thunder Bay Art Gallery before. They're not huge. Sometimes some galleries cost more to apply to. And this, as if you're not familiar with the baggage building, I think everybody probably is, but it is quite the multi-purpose public space usually. But during COVID, it's very closed, so it might change a bit what we can show. You never know if because before there'd just be kids running around lots and things like that. But we might be able to shift a bit what we can display. But yeah, anyway, that's just the audience, and then sometimes there's other people renting the space too, so really unwieldy sculptures and stuff would be discouraged. you know yeah, and just typical dropping off your artwork, make sure the name and title and that is all connected to the artwork, like stuck with tape or something to the back. And there is a budget here for supporting transportation of artwork, because some people, you might not be able to, transport it yourself or whatever. So just let me know and I'll arrange for pickup. And you're going to be paid an exhibition fee. And I bet you a bunch of you are like, ooh, how much? Or also just concerned with how much, because I know that sometimes if you're on something like ODSP, it can influence your income. So if that's the case, we can always chat. But I will pay either cash or check, and the amount will depend on how many artists are exhibiting. Basically, I have X amount of dollars, but typically it's around at least $150 and upwards to participate in a show for standard art Carfax rates. Yeah, so, and if you can't, earn a certain amount of income within a certain amount of time, you need me to just write checks over a period of time or something like that, I can work with artists individually to do whatever we got to do. And Yeah, for the jurying process, I'll seek a couple of members from Mindful Makers. I'll put a call out once I have the firm deadlines of when the jurying will be. If the exhibition goes ahead in October, then the jury will be the last week of September. And then the show would start probably 2 weeks after to give everybody a chance to make sure everything's framed if you didn't finish framing it or whatever. Um, and then, so we'll have two members be juries and they would be paid an honorarium. I believe that honorarium is $100 or $50. I think it's 100. I don't recall at the moment. I'll send out information later. And then also I'll connect with a couple of professors at Lakehead University's visual art department because I've sat on juries for them. So I'm sure they would return the favor and be sort of a peer jury person that's not connected to the collective, just to bring in a different perspective. And you know, yeah, let's see, is there one more page? There we go. Yeah, you're welcome to use an alias if that's what you prefer, or you don't want to use your first name and last name. And it's hard to say whether or not the work will be for sale. That's something we can discuss at the end of this presentation, because originally with Angie running the gift gallery, for sure the work would have been for sale. So now there's just complications with her not being there. So anyway, we just have to talk about that as a collective at some point. Well, that was a mouthful. Does anybody have any questions so far? I think there was something in the chat maybe. Okay, nothing, no questions.
I'm just wondering how long it goes for, and also is it both floors of the baggage building or is it just the main floor?
It's really gonna depend on this conversation I have with the city. They sent me some rental sort of breakdown of their space last spring, which is all new and nobody's even rented it. And it's not honestly an affordable rate. So I'm gonna have to just talk to them and see what we can do with the budget we have, and see what's possible. And you know, honestly, if all else fails, I will seek other space, but I would hope to do it in the baggage building and take up as much space as we can. But since the baggage building gift gallery is no longer there either, we might be able to even use that space, which could be kind of cool too, because it's all white
That
walls
would
in there.
be awesome. And that's that neat
Yeah.
walkway up to it.
And then there's, like, you know, lots of room in there for sculptures and stuff, and the whole space could potentially get closed off for, you know, when there's other rentals in the space and not have to worry about our art being out and this and that. Not that I am worried. I've worked out of that space for a long time. But yeah, that's a good question. But one thing I didn't mention to anybody yet is that I'm really hoping to put the exhibition online as well, because you can use Google Slides. It's actually a free platform through Google that you can do a Google Gallery like through slides. So hopefully I won't be too busy with everything else, and that I will like be able to do that, and that as long as everybody gives quality images, it'll make it that much easier, because then I could just pop those images into an online exhibition. Because yeah, I just recognize there are still some people who may prefer to view from home. So, all right. So now
We might be able to help with getting high quality images, if anybody needs help with that.
thanks, Brett. That's good to know. Okay. Now I'll share a copy of my CV, which I've been working as an artist for 10 years, and you don't need all this stuff. It can be one page, super simple. Usually it like just shares like your self-taught education and your, you know, like how long you've been working as an artist and a bit of what you've been doing like professional development wise, if anything, like whether it's volunteering and that kind of thing. And it could be one page, no more than 3 pages usually for any applications, um, resumes. So yeah, just usually selected exhibitions. You don't have to put every exhibition you've ever been in. You know, usually it's whatever you're applying to, you can kind of change your CV to suit it. Um, Affiliation, like, oh, Mindful Makers member, you know, we put that down. And yeah, but this is just a sample. One page is totally fine. If even you don't fill a whole page, it's okay. The whole point of this exhibition is also just to show people and to get them started to think about how you can do these types of things to get your work out into the world, you know. And I'll share my sample CV, um, so that you can see it. Um, then I actually have a sample artist statement too, which my sample doesn't relate like super directly to the idea of elemental unraveling, but yet I feel like it does indirectly, you know? So I don't even say the words elemental unraveling in my statement, you'll see. So, and I could have submitted this like if I was applying as 2 paragraphs. I don't have to break it up, but I just thought I'll read it out. So, in addition to heritage and preservation, I explore themes of life cycles, rebirth, the collapse of time and memory, how we're all comprised of the same elements and are vulnerable to the currents of change and new beginnings. My artistic process is driven by emotional intent, incorporating various mediums, including but not limited to forged metal, found objects, photographs, sound, and more recently, weaving. My physical relationship with the methods selected is integral to my practice. Currently, I'm exploring my Finnish heritage through combining new, unfamiliar ways of working, primarily slow, craft based practices with media arts. In 2019, I traveled to Kristinestad, Finland with collaborator Tuija Hansen to participate in an artist residency and 2 exhibitions near the community from which our grandfathers were born. Together, we wove Home to the River, an artwork that combines tapestry with Finnish rug weaving techniques. To accompany the work, I created Water Soundscape, projecting sounds harvested from the region. So this last paragraph relates actually directly to the images I will show you. So here we go. Of course, I can't like click on them and it go large. You don't see a large image there, right?
No, we see little
The thumbnails. Wonder if I could just
I'll
just make them bigger.
We can make the screen bigger. If you pinch it, the screen, you can enlarge it.
And here, this will help. So this was the piece that I spoke to in that last paragraph, just as a way to show how, oh, and this one went sideways, how you can word an artist statement to speak directly to an artwork. And I only had like 3 sentences there about it or so. And these are sample photographs. So, you know, this weaving piece, I shared 3 images of it from different angles, you know. But I might have, if I want to include the sound component, only even put 2 images and then the sound. And then this image is a super simple sample of what typically galleries like to see when you submit artwork. They don't usually want the artwork within a frame. They usually just want to see the artwork itself. But you know, I'm not gonna tell the jury to not accept your work if you photographed it in a frame. It's also fine. Like I just thought I'd put it a sample up here. I didn't feel the need to put additional images for this one, but you can submit up to 3. So you might want to pick a detail shot. Maybe there's like, if you did something more detailed in there that you want to show. And then this work, if I was submitting it, I'd show at least 3 images as samples. So really close up of the embroidery part and then just more of a detail. I also have a shot that was a side view, but I was like, I don't know. It's this side doesn't feel important for this work because it's not like it hangs far off the wall. So I was like, I'll just do another close up. And those are my sample images. Any questions so far, comments or anything? Okay, well, I'll keep going.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Carolyn.
Yeah.
I have a question. Maybe it's already something that's passed, and I'm sorry if it's if I didn't read it or catch it. Um, is there, you said don't bring giant things like that you can't carry, or that, but what about how small can something be? Is there a minimum size, even for a piece of artwork, like, what's the dimension
Hmm. That's
minimum
a good
requirement?
question. I feel like that might almost depend on the location of the exhibition. Like if we're in the big open space and there are multiple groups using the space, I'd say if you want to put something small, maybe there's a, I don't know. I don't remember if there's any cupboards that Angie left at the baggage building for display. If there's glass cases, we can tuck it in there, just even in case it like falls or gets, easily damaged or something. But if it's in the space like where the gift gallery once was and we could easily lock it from all the other places, people, sorry, using it places, then I'd say it, like the size of things, whether big or small, might not matter as much because we could really take over the space and know that it's only open when people are there to host viewings. But that's a really good question. um yeah, that's interesting. I'd love to see a sample like what you're imagining. It's neat. I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
my brain's going.
yeah,
um
yeah. Well, so the ideas are starting to go now, so it's
yeah, yeah. I won't go through this next thing, but I can email it to anybody if you want. Like when we did do a class with Alana Forsland from the Ontario Arts Council and Stacey Hare Hodgins, they helped put together this really like tips for statement rating. So when I circulate more info about the exhibition, I can like send this to you. Because it might help. I also have another document about statements I can share. I just won't go over it now. It'll be like information overload. So now I'll show the application form thus far. So this is what it'll look like. So we'll have the date of the submission, which currently is September 24th, depending on how this conversation goes with the city this week. Has my email where to send it to right on there. So you include your name. If you want to use an alias, you put it on there. Your contact info. We'll have to talk about the idea of selling work at the end of this. But if we are going to want to sell our work, then you include that information for how much you want to sell it for. It doesn't have to be for sale too, just so you know. The dimensions is helpful too in the medium, because the jurying process, as long as everybody sends really good photos, I hope it works out. I'm hoping to do online with the jury or in person through a slideshow. Either way, it would be like an electronic kind of jury, because that's just how it is these days everywhere, even before COVID. And so I want to encourage people to submit good images so that we can judge the work based on the image. Hopefully the images will do it justice. And then at the bottom, there's the checklist. So does your package include your CV, your artist statement, your photos, and your installation instructions if there are any? And then if you're requiring assistance transporting your work, you let me know. And you just at the bottom have these questions like or statements that you check yes or no, saying that you understand that if your work is selected, you'll be paid an exhibition fee. And that I just wanted to put the statement that you understand that participating in the exhibition identifies yourself publicly as someone living with mental health or addictions experiences, because in the past, um, sometimes people have gotten involved and didn't even really know that that was our niche, and so just kind of put it there so that people realize too that it is sort of a public thing. And then the next page, you would just sign it. There's some terms and conditions, super basic stuff, just saying like that the work will be gallery ready and that it'll remain in the exhibition, during the exhibition, that there's no taking the work before the show's over. And if we're going to sell the work, that you can be contacted so it can be replaced, or else an agreement will be made with the person wishing to buy it to keep the work on display for the show. HST will be collected is what it said previously when Angie was running the gift gallery. So I have to figure all that stuff out. Angie was also going to collect a 20% commission fee because she has to run the space somehow. So if we do decide to sell the work, we have to have that conversation. Like if I'm using my Square Reader, for instance, to sell our artwork, the Square Reader takes a small percentage. So we'd want to at least cover that with a small commission fee to Mindful Makers kind of thing. We can even host a different conversation on a different day, more in depth with members about that too. Mindful Makers does have insurance. So I just need to check in with the insurance company to find out like if the works can be insured while they're in the space. I have a feeling they can be. And that just usually it's, you know, the artist's responsibility to insure the work if you feel so necessary to do while transporting the work to and from the show. Otherwise, if our insurance company doesn't cover it, then we'll just have a liability. Well, we'll probably have a liability form to sign anyways. But yeah, and then Mindful Makers will hang the work, maybe with a couple experienced volunteers that want to help curate the show. And we'll provide signage and advertising and all of that, and hope that you can all help with circulating that info. I'm sure the city and baggage building people will, you know, circulate that as well. Yeah, so if all goes as planned with our current timeline, the successful applicants will drop their work off October 12th, like during our open studio session that would be happening that day. And then I try to probably extend it into the evening a bit so that if anybody's working and needs to drop it off after work. If you can't make that timeline, just contact me because maybe I can swing by to just pick it up sometime or whatever. We'll figure it out. And hopefully it would go for about a month and a half, the show. But it really depends on this conversation with the city. I hope they're willing to charge us less for the space so that we can have it up longer, especially if we end up having to only open the space a couple days a week or something like that. It would be really a shame to not have it up for as long as we can. Yeah, let's see what else was on my list here. This is going way faster than I thought, even though it's already 40 minutes later. Yeah, I think that was mostly it. I guess the discussion would be now. I have like just a couple points there. I think I already mentioned a lot of it though. Like, so basically depending on when Open Studio starts, that's when I can start offering support for the exhibition.